everyone, so today I am going to try and cook 4 or 5 recipes in under an hour. So we are going to supercharge meal prep. It's going to be low fat, low calorie, high protein, vegan goodness. Come with me on this journey and let's get cooking. Oh, by the way, meant to tell you, my microphone isn't working, so hopefully you can hear me. We're going to have a bit of microwave action going over in the background. So I don't know, front camera, no microphone, it's raw, but it's going to be delicious. So come on, let's start cooking. So first meal we're going to cook is my famous chili. So vegan chili, there's lots of different ways of doing it. For the meat substitute, I like to use a little bit of mushrooms. So in here, I have some dried mushrooms. I've used fresh mushrooms in the past, but I just happen to have a whole bunch of dried mushrooms. So firstly, let's get them rehydrated with a little bit of water. And a bit for me as well. Thirsty work this cooking. So while we wait for them to rehydrate, I'm going to chop up 2 onions just quickly. Need something for the waste. Hang on. All right, something for my scraps. Don't panic, we're back in business. All right, now the reason why I'm putting 2 onions in this is I'm always looking for opportunities to increase the nutrition in meals and decrease the calorie density. So what you want to do in your cooking is try and get as many non-starchy vegetables into each dish as you possibly can. So onions are a fantastic way to do that. It looks like a lot now, but it'll all sort of blend down into the meal, and so you won't notice it. Now, lots of chilies have just, you know, your meat and your beans, or your meat alternative and your beans. And they're kind of traditional, they're yummy, it's a Texan way. But like I said, let's try and get as many vegetables as we possibly can. So I'm going to put in some sweet corn and some capsicum. So let's prep those. I don't know if you can see that, but my eyes are watering. You have to see this. Look at that. I don't normally cry when I do onions. I don't know what's going on. All right, back to it. All right, capsicums. No. Oh, I meant to tell the time. So it is now 11:45. So 12:45 is when we're aiming to have at least 2 or 3 dishes done. Is it possible? I don't know. So of course I'm going to edit this video, but that's why I've told you the time, so you know actually how long this is all taken. Now, lots of people who make chili on a regular basis have a secret ingredient. Let me know in the comments what your secret ingredient is. Mine is cocoa and molasses. Sometimes I actually put a little bit of instant coffee. Now look at all these vegetables. So what I'm kind of hoping to do, so I've got my 2 tins of tomatoes and I've got 3 tins of beans. So what I'm hoping to do is all these vegetables here will be more than half of the dish. That way it's in line with the starch solution and it's lowering the calorie density. And it's going to be quite runny, so lots of water in your dish equals lower calorie density. What I'm going to do is just off camera, I'm going to put these in the food processor to mince them up. But I'm also going to reserve that water because that's the water I will use when I'm cooking, because it's all beautiful flavoured broth. Let me show you. Can you see that? Can you see the colour of that? Oh, yeah. So it's just like mushroom broth. They have minced up nicely. Do you want to have a look? See that? Little bits of, tiny bits of pieces. So that can be our mushrooms, and I've saved the liquid here. And we are ready to start cooking. Let me get those over there. And get rid of the waste. I'm going to clean off my workbench a little bit. It's always good to clean up as you go when you're cooking. Right, that's heated up a little bit. Start in with the onions. Oh, that was a nice sizzle. Maybe it's a little bit too hot. Now, you've heard me say this before. I'm going to say it again because this changed my life. You do not need to saute with oil. You can just use a little bit of water to deglaze your pan if you want to. And the thing about oil is, I'm not saying fats are bad. Fats are great. But if you want olive oil, eat the olive. Eat it with all of the nutrition and all of the fibre. You don't need to have a highly refined product that is just so calorie dense. So do yourself a favour, learn how to cook without oil. And then if you need to add oil, like for example, if you're making a stir fry and you want to put in a little bit of sesame oil, you're doing it because it's going to be an amazing flavour bomb. You're not doing it out of habit or because you have to. So make sure you take stock of what's going into your body. Now, while those onions are starting to saute a little bit, I'm going to drain my beans. So I have a can of red kidney beans, a can of black beans, and a can of cannellini beans. And of course, you can use whatever type of beans that you like. Sometimes I just do it all with black beans because I like how they're small and delicious. And sometimes I find the red kidney beans a little bit too big. But like I said, you do you. So I'm going to soak these in a colander, and so that gets rid of all the kind of aquafaba-y type of stuff, which is useful for other things, but not for this. Okay, so that's still ticking along. Now here's what we're going to do. While we're doing this main dish, which is our chili. Now this chili will make about 12 servings, so put them into the freezer, pull them out whenever you need to. They're lovely over baked potatoes. You can use it on pasta, you can use it with rice, and you can put it on nachos. I do have a healthy nachos recipe, so I might link that into the description if I remember. So I'm going to move this to the side a little bit, and I'm going to start chopping for my next dishes. So my next dishes are going to be Thai inspired kind of food. Well, Thai and Korean. So I'm going to do a Thai mushroom curry, a tofu satay, and a creamy Korean gochujang. So I'm going to need some more onions. So I've got 3 more dishes to go, 3 onions. So I'm going to do a mixture of stirring these, and they're starting to get some colour on them. I don't know if you can see that, but they don't yet need any water. Now, one of the great things about doing 2 recipes at one time, or at least prepping for your second recipe, is that you're not tempted to rush your first dish. So one of the things that makes this chili layered with different flavours is I'm going to love on each stage and each ingredient. So these onions are going to get nice and caramelised and really release their sugars and get delicious. So sometimes I rush that, and because I've got so many onions to chop, that's not going to be an issue today. That's the onions done. So what I'm going to do for my stir fry recipes is I am going to use a mixture of frozen vegetables and a mixture of fresh vegetables. And the reason for that is just because that's what I have, but also because I don't like frozen carrots, but I love using frozen broccoli and cauliflower, although today I have today I have fresh broccoli because it's got to be used up. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing one vegetable at a time. So I'm going to start with carrots, and then I'm going to put them into the steamer and steam them for about 5-6 minutes on high in my microwave. Those of you who have watched my channel before would know that I don't bother to peel my carrots, but if you like to peel your carrots, go ahead and do that. Now what you'll notice is that I'm using the same vegetables for the next 3 recipes, and that is because they're my favourite vegetables. But if you want to change it up, feel free. Also, if I was making these individually, some I would use round carrots and some I'd use battens, but because today we're bulk cooking, I'm not really worried about the shape, I'm worried about speed and getting it done. Alright, that felt like it took forever. Probably should have used a mandolin, but I don't know, bit of chop action's alright. So I'm going to pop all of the carrots into my steamer. These are looking like they've got a bit of colour on them. And I haven't added any water in for a little while. Now the reason why I haven't added any water is because I'm going to move these to the side, and I'm going to try and get a tiny bit of colour on the corn. It doesn't work that good in one of these because the element's all around the outside, but I don't know, let's give it a shot. Alternatively, you could kind of chuck these on a skillet and get a bit of char on them. Or you can have corn on the cob, roll it around on the hob until it gets blackened, and then just slice them off. That would be amazing. Add another layer of flavour. Add another layer of flavour, but it's all good. So I'm going to just leave them to get a wee bit of colour. And these are frozen, so that's going to take a little bit of a while, but that's okay. Alright, I'm going to turn the heat up for that. While I'm waiting for that to happen, let's get stuck into some broccoli. Now, I heard a great hack for broccoli. We're not going to do it today, but I want to tell you about it. If you have a pot of boiling water, you can actually stick this into the boiling water just like that for about 5 to 6 minutes, depending how tender you like it. Then you bring it out. Once it's cool enough to kind of touch and handle, just snip the florets off with some scissors. It's amazing, and you don't get all the mess, but we're not doing it that way, so we're going to get some mess, so bear with me. Now these are for a stir fry. like a curry, like this is for the curry dishes, so I'm kind of wanting them to be about that shape. Can you see? That shape. We didn't get a char, but it's all good. I'm just not wanting any of that onion to burn, so let's just incorporate it. Now again, I'm choosing not to put any water at this bit. One, because the corn was frozen, but two, because I'm going to put my spice bits in a minute and you want that to sort of dry roast. But I'm just going to give it another minute or so. While I do that, I'm going to finish chopping the broccoli. So never throw away your broccoli stems. You can do a couple of things with this. Usually I would chop this up, put it into my food processor, and also use the stalk of the cauliflower, and I'd make cauliflower kind of rice with both. But I'm actually going to put this in the dish today. So the outside layer of your broccoli is quite tough. But if you take that off, it's not too bad. What you just have to remember is when you're stir frying it, it takes about the same amount of time to cook as maybe carrot. So you want to add your stalk in way before you add the florets in. Oops. Try not to take any limbs off. So it's not important for you to get every single little bit off, but just enough so it's not too tough. And I'm going to put that into tiny-ish battens. And if they're small battens, they're not going to be tough and you're not even going to notice them. So remember, this is all just prep work at the moment while we're waiting for this to happen. That chopping board, isn't it? Okay, I'm happy with the way this is looking. Oh, some of that corn's got a little bit of colour. Yay, it smells good too. So I make my own chilli blend. You can find lots of different chilli blends at the markets. You can find recipes on YouTube or wherever, or you can just buy a packet mix. Either way, it's okay. So this is a fairly hot chili mix, but I like it hot. So I'm going to add about probably 3 to 4 tablespoons. I can actually add a little bit later, but what I want to do is make sure primarily I toast the majority of it off in a fairly dry pan. And you'll know it's ready because you'll kind of want to go off like that. Now, the other thing about chili is you want to cook down your tomato paste a little bit. So it's about now, I'm going to put in some tomato paste. About 1 to 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Oops. Now it is starting to stick at the bottom, so we don't want to leave that too much longer before we put some moisture in there. But I'm going to let it go right to the edge because it's all flavour. Just don't let it stick. Okay, now in with the mushrooms. That's going to supply us with a little bit more moisture again. Can you see that? You wouldn't miss the meat, would you? But of course you can like put some Beyond Meat or anything. It's just, you know, I prefer the whole food plant-based route. And seriously, this just tastes just as good. So at the end, we're going to put in some diced walnuts, and that will give us a little bit more of a crunch and a bit more texture, a bit more flavour. And seriously, guys, you will not miss the meat. This is something you could happily serve to your non-vegan friends. I used to make this for my son all the time, and he loved it. Sometimes we would put lentils in it, sometimes we wouldn't. Very versatile recipe. So that's now starting to catch a bit more than I want it to. So we're going to add in one of the tins of tomato. Now I like to get chopped tomato, but I didn't have that in my cupboard. Oh. So we're just going to put that in. And chop it up. Now this is all of the meal that I want to saute up and develop flavour. What we're going to do in a little bit is I'm going to change it to the slow cooker, and we can add the rest of the canned goods into the slow cooker. But I needed to add that 1 tin of tomatoes to get everything off the base, so we don't have any burning, any bitter flavour. They're going to fall apart more in the slow cooker, so we're not getting carried away. Now, a couple of other ingredients. We're going to put an apple in there because sweetness in your chili is absolutely delicious. I'm going to go against what I normally do, and I'm going to peel this just for a texture. Now I have some cacao powder. You can use cocoa powder if you like. That goes in. Another secret ingredient of mine, did I mention molasses? I did, didn't I? About half a tablespoon of that, or a whole tablespoon if you don't put the apples in. We have some chipotle in adobo sauce. I have about a third of this container left, so I'm going to put all of that in. If I can get it out. Tell you what I'll do. I'll get my vegan chicken star stock. Pop a little bit in there. My nan always used to say, waste not, want not. It's funny, isn't it, how their voice sticks in your head long after they're gone. Now, that is smelling and looking absolutely amazing. Woo! It's got a bit of a kick to it. Okay, so it's now that I think we can transfer it into the slow cooker, and that can just cook away over the next 5 or 6 hours or until dinner time, and it will be ready to go. So bear with me, I'm just going to swap out these things, and I'm going to give this one a wash, and we'll be ready for the next recipe. Okay, so my slow cooker has been around for a really long time, and at one point in time I put it too close to the stove, so it's kind of melted, but despite it looking ratty, it still works really well. So please don't judge me. It's fine, everything's fine, nothing to see here. Woo! Don't make a mess, not too bad. All right. Again, I'm going to use the stock to make sure I get all of those yummy flavours out. Pop them in. Oh, those good bits from the bottom. I don't know if I accidentally forgot to film that, but I put the next can of those in. I chucked my 3 bins of beans in there, and I've emptied out the vegan stock into there. So that is looking really super good. Time to plug it in, put the lid on and put it aside, and that's not going to be needing anything for hours. I might stir it occasionally, give it a bit of a taste, but that one's basically done. And it is 12:30, so we are not doing too bad for time. I don't know if you can hear my microwave in the background, but those carrots are ready, so I'm going to grab them out. Ah, got my capsicum. I better put that in the slow cooker. Carrots are coming out. Oh, they're nice and hot. Whoops. Try not to burn yourself at this stage, people. Carrots. Well, we had a runaway. Okay, next one that can go in is our broccoli. Now, broccoli doesn't take that long. I only want to parboil it. So I'm going to put them in for 4 minutes. Maybe 3.5. Okay, for our stir fries, we have onions, we've got cooked carrots, we've got broccoli in there. We need some cauliflower, some green beans. Let's do some capsicum as well. Right, so this capsicum I want to do into batten. So these are going to stay raw. So the onions and the capsicum will be cooked up from raw. The rest of the vegetables will be mostly cooked via the microwave. Might do the beans from frozen as well. I'll play it by ear. I'm sorry that's so loud. Alright, that's the capsicum ready to go. I heard the microwave go off, so I'll grab that. Excellent. Woo, it's going to be hot. Put them in. Hot, hot, hot. Next vegetable I want is cauliflower, so I'm just going to dump in a whole bag of frozen cauliflower in. Alright, because that's frozen in the microwave for I think 3 minutes. Last vegetable I'm going to use is sliced green beans. I'm going to leave these ones frozen. You can add whatever vegetables you like. These are the ones that I kind of like the best. So in here I have a whole tub of silken tofu. I have as much coconut water as I could get it up to the max line. And I have a teaspoon of miso. So I'm going to chuck that onto my NutriBullet, and then I'm going to top it up with the rest of the coconut water so that we have enough for all of our recipes, hopefully. You know what? I forgot to soak the cashews. So what I'm going to do is go with plan B. So normally what you'd want to do is put 1/4 cup of soaked cashews in there. But I have this salted cashew butter. Shall I bring it closer? Can you see that? So that is 100% cashews and salt, no other nasties added. So I figure that's pretty much like putting cashews in there. I would have probably cut the miso down if I'd known that that's what we were going to do. That's okay, we'll adjust the salt at the end of this dish to taste anyway. Pop that back on the NutriBullet, and I reckon we have a perfect coconut cream alternative that is low fat and good for you, high in protein and delicious. Come together really fast now. So, what's the time? Oh, it's 1:45, so it's been an hour. We didn't make our goal, but we will definitely make them all probably within the next half hour. Definitely, probably. I should back myself a bit better than that. So I'm just going to chop up these tofu into whatever shape takes your fancy. Alright. I might chuck the tofu in now, see if I can get a bit of colour on that. Now, even though these carrots are cooked, I'm going to chuck them in now because I like my carrots to be really soft. So maybe a third of the carrots. Let's turn that up again. Can you see how that tofu is even already starting to get a little bit of brownness on it? That hasn't been long at all. Remember, no oil has gone into the pan at this stage. Open, let's go. Yeah, about that much. Whatever floats your boat. Stir that around to give it a little bit of, oh, that smells so good. Oh, I haven't had a green curry in so long. Let's chuck in the capsicum because that's got to cook. Here's where I might just splash a little bit of that water in. That was the one we soaked our mushrooms in. And the other vegetable that hasn't been cooked yet is our beans. We'll let that sizzle for a little while. Oh, yum. Let's put in the little battens of the broccoli to make sure that they all cook nicely. Doesn't matter if you miss a few, it's fine. It's all still being a little bit cooked. And a little bit of crunch and texture, never a bad thing. So that's going round, very good. A little bit more water. Going to put a little bit of garlic in there. A lot of garlic, I like garlic. Alright, cauliflower. I'm going to use the little pieces of cauliflower because it's not all as cooked as I want it to do. Actually, I'm going to put the rest back in for another minute for our next recipe. Looking good. Chuck in a bit of our broccoli. So now we can go in with our coconut creamy milk alternative. I'm going to pour in a bunch of that. And the rest I'm going to use the coconut water. I'm going to stir that around. Now what I've noticed is without the cashews, it is not as thick as it normally is. So I might have to do a bit of a cornstarch slurry in there. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's really good. Now, needing a little bit of molasses. So this is date molasses. You can use whatever sweetener makes your heart happy. I think palm sugar is probably the most traditional one. Now I realised that I don't have enough fish sauce left, so I'm just going to have to wing it with the saltiness, and I'm going to put whatever little bit of fish sauce I have. I'm going to ration that over the next 2 recipes actually, and a little bit of soy sauce. Non-traditional, but all good. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of cornstarch. Remember, this stuff is mostly cooked. I think I keep saying cornstarch, but I actually mean tapioca starch. A couple of that. Doing it as a slurry is much better, but I don't get too traditional or carried away with all the supposed to do it that way. Bit more. That's thickening up now. And there you have it, Thai green curry. Yum. I actually think it needs a bit more body, so I'm going to put in some miso. Bit of miso. Miso makes everything better, don't you think? Make sure I stir all that in. Taste. That is perfect now. Oh yeah, that's much better. I think what I do think is a little bit more extra fish sauce when it's being served will be good. And I might just chuck a little bit of lime juice in there as well. Okay. A little bit of acidity. Another little taste. That's it. Beautiful. Yes, that's recipe number 2 done. Oh, I don't know if that's going to go well. What the heck? Let's just do it. Because we're going to cook with similar flavours, I'm just going to wipe it out with a paper towel. And we're going to go straight into the next recipe. So the next recipe I think will be satay. But I just realised that I don't have any red curry paste, which I would normally use. We are going to make do with some Penang. Okay, so for you at home, we are going to pretend this is red curry paste and it's going to be a real satay. But for me, it's not going to be quite what I wanted it to, but it's going to be fine. So I'm going to do a mixture of Penang curry paste, and I'm going to use a bit of gochujang. So hopefully I'll kind of hit sort of the flavour profile I'm looking for. But like I said, you use your red curry paste and you will nail it, I'm sure. All right, let's hop in another bit of tofu. Starting to get a bit messy. How are you guys traveling watching all that mess? Is it bothering you? Let me know in the comments if you need me to lift my game up next time. A little bit of garlic. A little bit of carrots. A little bit of capsicum. A little bit of beans, a little bit of cauliflower, and then curry paste, gochujang, this. Oh, it smells good. Now, the way that we're going to make this satay, so that it's not as high as fat as what a normal satay is, of course we're going to use our low-fat vegan coconut milk alternative, but we're also going to use some powdered peanut butter. So most people, I think these days, have heard of PB2. This one is an Australian product by Macro Mike. It's called powdered peanut butter. Can you see that? Oh, bit of a glare. This is like PB2, but it's actually got slightly more protein in it. So per serving, it has 6.6 grams of protein and slightly less fat than PB2, but it is negligible, so don't get too excited. So this one I feel is going to need a little bit more time to cook. So I'm going to chuck in that extra bit of coconut water. And I'm going to pop the lid on because I noticed those beans are not cooking as quickly as I wanted them to. So while that's cooking down a little bit, I just wanted to quickly remember to put the walnuts into our chili mix. So I think that's just over half a cup of walnuts. You don't have to be too specific with the measurements. Into my food processor, still has a few of the bits of mushroom on it from before, but it's going in the same recipe and it's fine. So I'm going to blitz them up and pop them in the slow cooker. I think that is looking good, all cooked through. Next I'm going to add in about just under a quarter of a cup, under a half a cup of cashews, something along those lines. Stir them in. Now in with my coconut. Well, it's sort of got in. Let's just push a little bit in there and I will clean this mess up. Oops. I've only half cleaned it up because I don't want anything to overcook. So we will plod along, pretend it's all good. Bit of coconut. Now, all right. Next, we are going to put in our broccoli. Remember, that's already cooked, so we're just feeding that through. A bit of vegan fish sauce. Not much in there. Gluten-free soy sauce or tamari. Feeling a bit wet. Again with the miso. Make sure we spread that out. And about a quarter of a cup of that. I like mine quite peanutty. Now because we didn't make this one here with the cashews like I normally do, it's not feeling as creamy as it normally does. So I actually think that I'm going to put a little bit of tahini in here to just amp up the creaminess. But before I do that, I just want to taste it. Oh, that's good. A little bit of sweetener. Always got to remember to balance out your flavours. A little bit of lime. And I'll go and grab that tahini. My tahini's got a layer of oil on the top, so I'm going to try and mix that. I'm just going to put about a tablespoon. So there's lots of different ways that you can make your dish feel creamier and more luxurious that don't have to be high in saturated fat like coconut cream and coconut milk are. And of course, if you're not watching your weight, or it's not a health concern for you to cut down on your oil, and you know, I'm not going to be political about that, each to their own, you can use coconut cream. In fact, you can use chicken, you can use anything that you want, and this recipe still works. Just so happens that I'm keeping it vegan, and I love tofu. Oh my gosh, so good. I think a bit more peanut, and that will be a wrap for this one. And the time is 1:15. Let me just show you this because it looks amazing. Can you see that? Oh, so good. While I'm putting that into a container, I'm also going to get some pasta on. So I use a pasta cooker. I'm just going to cook that to the manufacturer's recipe, and I'm going to be using gluten-free. It's time for recipe number 4. We are doing so well. It is 1:30. So by the time we finish this, we would have been at this for 2 hours. But don't forget, we've got a chili that's about 12 servings. We've got Thai green curry, which is about 4 to 5 servings. We have satay tofu, again 4 to 5 servings. And this one will also be 4 to 5 servings. So guys, that's nearly a fortnight's worth of food cooked in 2 hours. And not only is it quick in terms of that's your whole meal prep for the whole fortnight, but gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, starch solution approved. It's going to help you feel fuller for longer. It's going to help you with your weight loss goals, and your body is going to feel amazing. So let's not get too carried away with the time. Now this one, I think I'm just going to crumble in a little bit of my tofu. And I wouldn't normally put tofu in this recipe. It's just that I had quarter left over and it just seemed like the thing to do, right? Try to actually get it in your pan. Turning that up. I would love to get a little bit of brown on these guys. So I'm going to move it out to where the burner is, turn it up real high. Now we don't have as much cream as we had before, and I would have liked before we had our little spill, but that's okay. Maybe when you make it, you won't be as clumsy as what I was. While we're browning that tofu a bit, I think we'll get the vegetables in that need cooking. So let's pop in the onion as well. Might as well be browning both of them at the same time, right? Oh, on reflection, I probably should have started this process a bit earlier because I am so hungry. All these beautiful flavours, and you know, it's lunchtime. I haven't broken my fast yet, apart from licking my fingers, which I don't know, probably counts, but can't wait. Out of the ones that we've made so far, it's probably a toss between the chili, which isn't ready to eat anyway, and the satay. That's my favourite. Surprisingly, the Penang curry paste and the gochujang together did a really good job. Who knew? I love it when you discover things that are kind of new in the kitchen. Let's get those capsicums in because they haven't been cooked. And the frozen green beans, which are not totally frozen anymore because they've been out for about 45 minutes. And I've got some broccoli batten still left over, so I'll pop them in at this stage. And toss around. So I don't know if you know this, but ginger freezes really well. So when ginger is kind of young, you don't need to even peel it. So this one's still got its skin on. But what I find is when you freeze it and you then grate it, the flesh goes into the grater, but it doesn't take the skin. So you're actually peeling it effortlessly. So that's a bit of a pro tip for you. We will put in our carrots. Now I want to be ready when the pasta is out of the microwave because I want to make sure I don't overcook that. So I'm just going to get ready with a colander. So I took my pasta out and I ran it under some cold water to stop the cooking process. And I just reserved a little bit of the liquid just in case I need it. Don't know if I will or not, but we'll see. That's going well. Let's chuck in our ginger. See what I mean about the skin? Magic. And garlic. Fresh garlic's better, but I only had the jar stuff today. So, not worrying. This one is Chinese cooking wine. Shaoxing wine is the best, but they didn't have that. Go in with a good old cup of that. And for some acidity, I have some rice wine vinegar, or just rice vinegar, this one is. About a tablespoon of that. For sweetness, I'm going in with the molasses. Quite a lot of that. I like it sweet. And then we're going to do the gochujang. Hope I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm not. Big old teaspoon of that one. Okay, gochujang is in there. Let's do a little bit more because we like it. Then we're going to do some, so that's gochujang. This is gochugaru. This is the flakes, about a tablespoon of that. What that does, it means I can cut down the amount of gochugaru, which has other things added, get the same flavour, but with less calories and less processed food in my dish. So that's the thinking behind that. We need some soy sauce, and I'm running out of soy sauce. So I've got another one. I reckon about 2 tablespoons of that. Let's put our broccoli in so we don't forget it. Going in with a little bit of tapioca flour to thicken it all up. More. Actually, while I've got the peanut out there, I'm going to thicken it up with that because that is delicious. And who doesn't like a little bit of extra protein and flavour in their meal? Looking good. In with our cream. Nearly had another cream related accident. Okay, ready? Smooth. Now when I make this normally, it's just cream. It's just cream. When I say just cream, it's just the silken tofu and a little bit of water or stock. I don't use the coconut water in it, but because I'm batch cooking, that's what I've done today. But generally, I just like it to just be a creamy consistency. That's looking pretty impressive. Let's just give that a taste. Oh my gosh, yum! Oh, yum! Oh my gosh, I don't even think it needs anything else. The vinegar's got a really nice acidic kind of taste on your mouth. And I tell you what though, I like it spicy, so I'm going to go in with a little bit more gochugaru. But I reckon how it was is perfect for most people's palate. And again, I'm going to go in with some tahini. So that was really only a heap teaspoon. Not a lot, but it just has made a difference to the silky texture of it all. And there we have it. All right, in with the pasta. Stir that around. I'm going to turn it off because I don't want to overcook it. And remember, this is batch cooking, so it's going to be reheated. I'm going to do something kind of weird, non-traditional into this. I'm going to tuck in some nooch. So I'm actually really drilling down on the Korean meets Italian kind of vibe thing with that. But I reckon that's going to add a bit of umami, a bit of body to it. So bear with me, I'll get that. Sprinkle a bunch over the top. Alright, I think we're ready for a taste test. Oh, I wish you could smell this. Actually, I wish you could all come over for dinner. There's one thing I like more than cooking, and that's sharing my cooking with people. Gonna make sure I get a little bit of veggies. I am not good at this. Alright, some veggies. Oh my gosh. Not going so well. Alright, moment of truth. I think it's going to be hot. Alright, pasta could have been cooked a moment longer. That'd be great for reheating though. That's a winner. There's our chili. That's been going for about 6 hours. It needs a little bit of cayenne pepper and a little bit of extra salt. I did put a tablespoon of chia seeds in just to thicken it up a little bit. And, oh baby, look how good that is. Woo, she's going to taste beautiful.